Good morning, everyone. The Fremont County Board of County Commissioners meeting for February 28th is called to order. Please rise and join me for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation by Bradley Buck from Bridge to Life. Thank you, sir.
Father in heaven, thank you for inviting us to come to you with our needs. I praise you for being a God who never has a bad day, who's always ready to have a conversation with us. And I thank you for the willingness of these folks to look to you for help as they lead our county. I pray that as they make decisions today, that they will be guided by your Spirit. I pray that what's said and done here today will honor you and be for the good of the people of Fremont County. And thank you for my privilege in being here to represent you and also to join with these folks in asking for your help to lead this county. I pray these things for your name's sake. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Bradley.
Thank you, Bradley.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Grantham.
Here.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
County Manager Carochi.
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Victoria.
Present.
All in our places with bright, shiny faces.
Yes, we are. Thanks for noticing.
Next item is the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes or whatnot?
Mr. Chair, I am unaware of any changes we need to make to today's agenda, so I move to approve today's agenda as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Roll call.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item is the consent agenda. There are no public hearings being scheduled on this consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All those, roll call, please.
Wrong meeting.
Wrong meeting.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, we move on to the administrative and informational portion of our meeting with updates from our staff and elected officials. We'll begin with our county clerk's monthly report. Clerk Grantham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The total motor vehicle fees, sales tax, and recording fees collected for January of this year were $1,202,057.11. Fremont County's portion for disbursement is $692,974.35, which is 58% of the total fees and is $8,997.90 less than January of last year. Year to date, our office is down $8,997.90.
It's a good thing those numbers match on that one, right? January versus January.
I would hope so.
January versus year-to-date, yes. Okay. Any other questions for the clerk?
None.
Very well.
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the county clerk's monthly report for the month of January 2023.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, we move to our sales and use tax report by our Budget and Finance Officer, Sean Sutton.
Good
Mr.
morning,
Sutton.
Sean.
Good morning.
Morning all, how are we?
Good.
That depends. What are you going to tell us?
We're shining and happy, remember?
Oh, that's right.
We've got mostly good news, so.
Right on. We're
this
great.
is
Then we're
All
great.
year-end information, so, Ms. Bell asked last month, and so this is the report through December. So year-end 2022 for the retail sales and auto use sales tax collection report and lodging. For December 2022, we collected a total of $783,361, which is $40,207 more than 2021. Year-to-date, we collected a total of $8,996,279, which was $572,169 more than 2021. And then budget-wise, we collected $1,446,132 more than the 2022 budget or expectation. Overall, if you kind of compare the numbers starting back in 2018, you'll see we were close to $5 million. We've exceeded that each of the last 4 years and nearing $9 million. So expectation, we look to 2023 to continue to improve, but obviously we'll monitor those and continue to update y'all on that. I also wanted to just, for the millions out there, these collections are split. So 75% are put to the general fund, and the other 25% are put into the sales and use tax fund. And these are typically used for capital projects, and we have a lot of those coming up over the next, 6 months, a year, something like that. So. Next report is the auto use tax collections. This is for December, again, 2022, totaled $102,404, which was $12,148 more than 2021. Year-to-date, we collected $1,472,169. As Kurt Grantham just kind of indicated, we've had some up and down months in 2022, so overall, that led to a $44,842 deficit, or we didn't quite collect as much as we did in 2021. However, to budget, we did a good job in estimating and coming in at $280,455 more. The lodging tax would be next. This is a quarterly collection, which totaled $48,200 in December. This was $33,318 less than 2021. Year-to-date total of $319,988, which was $51,698 less than 2021. Again, in relation, 2018, 19, and 20, 2022 was a phenomenal year, and we're still looking to see if 2021 was an aberration or if, what 2023 may bring. The Tourism Council is aware of these collections and the decrease, and believe that we've made the appropriate changes in their budget to reflect that. The next report would be the sheriff retail sales tax collection. For December, totaled $522,241, which was $26,805 less, more than 2021. Year-to-date total was $5,997,520, which came in at $381,439 more than 2021, and then $915,449 over the 2022 budget. So. Final report for this is the sheriff auto use. That totaled $68,404, which was $8,233 more than December of 2021. Total, we did break $1 million as projected last month at $1,005,977. overall. Again, we did come in $5,365 or $64 short of 2021. But in relation to the 2022 budget, we were $211,355 more. Overall, a strong year in collections for 2022, and look to see what trends bring in 2023. Questions or concerns?
Thank you, Sean. I know we kind of beat this drum every time we do these reports, but the 2021 was an odd year where things just spiked way up as far as our collections go. And if you just drew a trend line from 18, 19, and 20 through to 22, 22 is right where we should be. Of course, proof will be in the pudding once we get to this point next year and see what 23 does.
Yes, sir.
And so, nothing to be real concerned about, honestly, when we look at these numbers and we see the decreases from 21 to 22, just because 21 was just such an aberration as people came out of lockdowns and COVID and got out and spent an abnormal amount of money on tourist-related activities. So, anything else, guys?
Yeah, I think that carries over to the lodging to the T. In 2021, I remember hearing the bridge had the highest numbers ever, and that was because of people not being able to go in 2020, but the numbers were actually above 18, 19, and above 20, of course, but yeah, they're right in line, so it's nothing to be worried about. I don't believe 2021, you couldn't find a place to stay in the county, so,
Right.
and people were getting out and about. So it's looking great. Thank you.
I would just tag on to that and say, thank you not only for the report, but for the additional information that you're giving, the little explanations, the tidbits, the comparisons. I think it really helps folks understand where we truly are as a county. So I appreciate all of those extras in addition to the hard numbers themselves. So thank you so much, Sean.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, we have our county manager report by our county manager, Tony Carochi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So just a couple of things. Barry Acton, our current support team supervisor at the Department of Human Services, has been appointed by the county commissioners as the new director at Fremont County Department of Human Services. That will be effective March 6th. And just a reminder that the groundbreaking for the Pathfinder covered arena or pavilion at Pathfinder Park will be held tomorrow, Wednesday, March 1st from 2 to 3:30 p.m.
In the snowstorm
in the and the wind.
and the wind. Excellent. Okay, any questions for our county manager? Hearing none.
No.
I turn to my fellow elected officials for any updates and reports they would like to give.
I do have just one quick thing I would like to mention. We are making a lot of changes in this building right now. We're remodeling some offices. Many of you who have been coming in to pay taxes know that our treasurer's office has been located upstairs rather than here on the main floor because we're undergoing some major remodeling there. We also are doing a lot of remodeling in the former CSU and 4-H offices here in the lower level of the building. We will be moving our information technology offices there soon. They're very, very excited to get moved in there. Can't wait. But meanwhile, there's a lot going on in this building. And so I just want to say thank you to all of our citizens, our clients, our customers for being so understanding when you come in that you may not find what you think you're going to find where you think you're going to find it. I know walking the halls here, there have been many times I've seen someone just standing and looking so confused. And so we always stop and can we help and how can I direct you? And so I know it can be a little bit on the aggravating side, but it's going to be beautiful. We are definitely making improvements on the building. And so I just wanted to say thank you for your patience.
Usually the ones that she finds wandering around confused is one of us.
Well, I wasn't going to point fingers.
Thanks. So I missed the last BOCC meeting. It's the first one that I've missed since I've been elected, and I felt kind of weird not being at the meeting. But I was in Washington, D.C., representing Fremont County. I am part of the Public Lands Steering Committee for Colorado Counties Incorporated, which also puts me on the National Association of Counties Public Lands Committee and the Western Interstate Region Board as well. And with those committees, it's all the western states from Colorado or the edge of Kansas to the west. We're all kind of fighting the same battles with the federal government and the Forest Service and the Bureau of Land Management because of our forest health being so poor. And we have a pretty big agenda as far as trying to get the federal government to take care of the public lands. We were able to meet with the U.S. Forest Service fire chief. We were able to meet with the head of BLM. We had a one-on-one with her, the Colorado delegation, and got to ask her some very great questions, put her on the spot on some things that are going to affect not just Colorado, not just Fremont County, but the whole western states. The Department of Interior, we had some sessions with Transportation Secretary, which those were not very great in my opinion because it smells like all roses up there, and it's really not. That was right after the train wreck that they had, and he didn't address that at all. But so there was some bad things. But in the public lands, we got a couple of resolutions passed in our steering committee to go to the National Association of Counties, full body. And one of those has to deal with something we have a huge problem with here in our watershed, and that's the down timber from the fires and beetle kill. We had a fire in 2013, Duckett Creek, and in 2016, the Hayden Pass fire. Those trees that were killed in those fires are now laying on the ground, just sitting there degrading. And there's nothing that the Forest Service has in mind to take care of those. That wood actually has no value now because it's been laying there so long. But that was posed to them. Appreciate some of the work that they're doing, trying to clean up or thin some of the forest to make them healthier now, but they're 20, 30 years too late. And this dead wood that's laying up there is a potential for another fire. So unfortunately, it's not if, it's when. And that is going to create a hotter fire because of all that kindling on the ground. So that was posed to them. I think that was kind of interesting. I think I told you guys it was on C-SPAN when I asked that question to the Forest Service chief. So a lot of our conference was filmed on C-SPAN, so you can Google that and see some of the great questions that were asked by commissioners from all over the western United States. So it was a great time, but I think making some headway with the federal government. We do have senators in Colorado that understand the problem with the forest, and they're kind of on our side helping push that agenda forward to the rest of the Congress up there. So what we can do is keep battling that battle and make some differences, I hope. Thank you.
Okay. For my part, just to kind of add on to that as far as what's going on here in the state, we did this last week, the three of us have our Colorado Counties Incorporated meetings, our steering committee meetings where we discuss pending legislation and how our group wants to approach that, whether we want to amend it or keep an eye on it or oppose it or support it. There's way too many that we're keeping an eye on to discuss in any kind of detail here today, at least within the next 2 or 3 hours. So I'll just mention a couple. One in particular that our group moved to oppose, which was House Bill 1165, which has to do with county authority to prohibit firearms discharge on your own private property. While this is guised in this cloak of local control and county authority, what it is just another chip in the desire of folks to control what people can and can't do, not only on their private property, but also with their firearms. And so I mentioned it 2 weeks ago that this county is in no danger with the three of us up here of ever instituting something like that. But what we don't need is that to ever be on the books that would allow any group of people sitting here or in any other county commission to abridge a fundamental constitutional right. So we voted to oppose that. Unfortunately, that bill has passed the House and is on its way to the Senate, but there is a little disruption in its path right now because one of the Senate sponsors Didn't realize the kind of opposition it was going to receive, and he is jumping off the bill, or has already jumped off the bill. I'm not sure which at this point. There is a chance that we can actually kill that bill in committee or in the Senate. The only other one I want to mention is Senate Bill 111. We spent a lot of oxygen last year in this room talking about collective bargaining and unions, and what the bill, I can't remember the bill number now, they wanted to basically make counties subject to collective bargaining and allow collective bargaining units, unions within county governments. That bill originally had all sorts of local governments and other entities included in it. They negotiated it out, and the only ones left on the bill were county governments. And apparently they believed, those that supported that bill, that they got to a point where they were not going to include some of these other governments, that we had seen the last of that, and many of us, including the three of us sitting up here right now, said, wait till next year, and then the next year, and then the next year, and they'll come after all those ones that they took out of that bill. Well, I bring you Senate Bill 111, which is that told you so, where they are coming back to get the counties that were excluded in that bill last year, as well as municipalities, fire authorities, school districts, public colleges and universities, library districts, special districts, public defender's offices, University of Colorado Hospital Authority, the Denver Health and Hospital Authority, the General Assembly, and a Board of Cooperative Services. So this bill is coming back and including everyone. No doubt they will negotiate out a bunch of these before the end of this session, and they'll probably get to the municipalities this year, and then they'll come back the next year and the next year and the next year until they get unions in every level of government. This is not good for us. This is not good for the taxpayers, and our brothers and sisters in the Colorado municipalities stood with us last year in opposition to that bill, and we will continue to stand with them and all the other districts as they oppose this desire to put unions at every level of government and harm the taxpayer, to be perfectly honest. So we will continue to keep you up to speed on those items that most affect you and the citizens of Fremont County. Anything else?
Do you have a legislative deal this Saturday?
Yes, thank you. Actually, I had that written down here.
Read your note.
There, read my notes, Kevin. Chamber legislative hour. So for 2 years, there weren't any chamber legislative hours where we have our state reps and senators come in and give updates. That was in part due to COVID restrictions during 21. Was it
20.
20? It was 20. So we are back up and running on that. We had one actually earlier this month, and that is actually available on our YouTube channel if you want to watch that. We have one coming up this Saturday. That'll be Saturday, March 4th at 11 a.m. right here in this room in the Commissioner Chambers. And we'll have Representative Stephanie Luck and State Senator Mark Baisley here to give a update. That'll be sponsored by the Royal Gorge Chamber Alliance. So, anything else? Let's move on then. Now is that time in our agenda for citizens to address the commissioners on matters not scheduled on the agenda. And we have one person that has signed up to speak to us today. And we welcome Janice Yalch. Am I saying that right? Yes. Yeah, excellent.
Will you push the button on the front of that microphone? There's a little button,
Yeah,
long button right in front.
Push the button on top of that unit right there.
There you go. Now it's on.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Sound like a telephone advertisement, don't I? Well, I'm from Howard, and I'm here to see if we can't get the Cotopaxi substation manned 24/7. We do appreciate that you have put people on there at least part-time again. When I first moved up here, it was manned full-time, and if they didn't have anything else to do, they gave tickets to the speeders and brought in some revenue. But in light of the recent homicides in our area, people are a little bit skittish, and it's extremely difficult to get a deputy up there. And I'd like to give an example. My next-door neighbor, this has been almost a year ago, her husband was ill, and she had been in Colorado Springs with her husband, came home, and we knew that she was home that night. She lives at the very end of our little cul-de-sac there, and there is a neighbor right across the street from her. In that house, we think were probably druggies at that time. There was a lot of traffic. We never knew exactly who lived there. They had some pit bulls, and anyway, they were a little bit questionable. They weren't friendly with the rest of us neighbors. And we knew that she had come home that night and could not get a hold of her by telephone. And that night, there was something strange happened. The drug house had two pickups with the overhead lights on it, and so they shone those down the road. And none of us could actually see where our neighbor was, and we were a little concerned about her not knowing what was going on. And I called the sheriff's department, and they said, well, it'd be about an hour before they'd get up, and that would be normal because we're about an hour away. A couple of hours later, still hadn't heard anything, and I called back, and another neighbor by that time had called because we were still concerned about the lady next door here to me. And so I had called back about 2 hours later, and they said, well, they were really busy, and it'd be another hour before they got up there. And so another hour and a half went by, and we still hadn't heard from them. And so some of the neighbors, some of the men, armed themselves and decided that we didn't know what was going on, but we were worried about her safety. And they checked on her, and thankfully she was okay. But, I called the sheriff back, and they still hadn't left. And so, by this time, it'd been almost 4 hours. And I don't know if on the homicides, if somebody could have called in early and the sheriff not been able to respond because they weren't anywhere in the area, if that would have saved the Coopers' lives or not. We don't have any idea on that one. And, we have very little information, and all we hear from the sheriff's office is, well, don't worry about anything. And, a lot of us are older people, and it is hard not to at least be somewhat concerned, not knowing what is going on and not having any kind of law enforcement up there. And so this is just a request on our part here.
Okay.
So
Thank you so
very much.
Thank you. Have you talked to the sheriff about all this?
We have not.
Okay.
Is that something that we need to do?
So I would encourage that.
Okay.
Sheriff Cooper is very approachable on many of these issues like this, and very knowledgeable about the logistics involved and the finances involved and stuff like that. And so I would encourage that, and certainly we can have that discussion with him as well.
Well, do you guys make the decision whether or not the substation is manned, or I thought that was more of a financial issue than as opposed to a sheriff issue?
I would characterize that as both and.
Can I address
Yes.
that for a second, Mr. Chair, please? Yeah. So the short answer is really no. He is in charge of his staff and where he places his staff.
Okay.
And he's got to stay within his budget, obviously. He is still short-staffed in some areas. He does have a deputy up there every day. They don't sit at the substation.
At part-time, yes.
They're around. It's not feasible to have somebody sit at that substation. Those guys are out and around, and it's a big area. It's all the way from Tallahassee.
It's a very large
yeah.
area, and like I say, they used to just give speeder tickets whenever they didn't have anything else to do. I know they raised
drive
revenue. That
they're
was 30
around
years
in-
ago.
They're around in Copper Gulch and stuff, so they are staffed up there. Now, in the middle of the night, there's not a significant amount of calls, and the sheriff can get more into detail with you with this. There's not a significant amount of calls up there, so it is not feasible to have one driving around or sitting around up there. So it does take a minute to respond, but I know that the sheriff will engage with you and let you know how he has his staff moved around. We don't have anything to do with where his staff is and how he operates his department.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any other citizens who wish to address the commissioners this time? If not, we'll move on to the next point in our meeting. There is no old business for consideration, and so we will move on to new business. First item on our list is a recognition today of one of our Fremont County employees, Michael Kroll, our emergency and recovery manager, and I'm going to make you come all the way up here to this podium, sir, and be recognized. He was named the South Hazards Region Emergency Manager of the Year for 2022. This is with the Colorado Emergency Management Association, the South Region Emergency Manager of the Year Award recipient, as I said, for 2022, formally recognized with an individual award at the 2023 Colorado Emergency Management Conference held at the Embassy Suites Loveland Hotel Conference Center in Loveland just last week, I believe, on Wednesday, February 15th, 2023.
I'm going to take over here, and Michael's going to tell us that he was just doing his job. And I appreciate that you're just doing your job, and that's why you're here today, is because we want everybody to know how well you're doing your job and what you're doing for the residents of Fremont County. There's about 30 emergency managers in the southeastern part that are eligible for this. Now, they all didn't get nominated, but there are 30 of them. There were several nominated, and Michael came out the winner of those. There were some common themes amongst the nominating letters, which there were several from Michael, from the Fremont County area, from Pueblo County area, different parts of the region. And I'm going to read a few of these. It's kind of neat to hear these. Michael is one of the most dedicated, professional, and responsive emergency managers I've ever had the pleasure to work with. Michael is known for giving 100% at what he does and is known for his selfless service. His caring nature, willingness to answer any call at any hour of the day, sometimes to a fault, right? is a measure of his selflessness that Michael brings to everything he does. Michael is a poster child for hard work and dedication. He is determined to make the community we live in and work in a safer place. Michael's dedication and commitment to the safety and well-being of Fremont County cannot be overstated. There's many, many more great things that were said about Michael, and we could come up with many of them too, but that's just a few that were jotted down here, and we appreciate you, and I'll hand it over to Commissioner Bell.
Thank you. So I get to talk a little bit about some of the specific things that Michael did during 2022 and the specific reasons why, not just general feelings of people, but some of the things he had done. In addition to setting up and meeting in meetings after meetings after meetings to organize, to ensure that things were in place when an emergency does happen and we find ourselves in crisis. In addition to all of those things, Michael also assisted the Florence Fire Protection District in organizing and establishing its own full-time EMS service. And for the people of that particular area, all of Penrose and Florence, that's a huge issue. That's a really big thing. Michael also worked diligently with the Combined Regional Communications Authority, which is our dispatch center, to coordinate and restructure radio talk groups, radio operations, EMS flight asset procedures, and emergency response procedures for active shooters and emergency calls within the entire Royal Gorge area. Want to let folks know that he also assisted in planning and procuring a mobile satellite cellular hotspot trailer for emergency response agencies in Fremont County. So it will be housed at Fremont County, but it's available to all of those various agencies. Most of all, I want to talk a little bit about Michael's response and coordination efforts when we suffered the cyber attack in August. We all got that call at, 4:30 in the morning or something on a Wednesday morning, had no idea what actually had happened, what we were walking into. Michael was already involved, had the Emergency Operations Center working on getting up and open and housed there to actually have a center clearinghouse where everyone could go for information. He coordinated meetings about that. He answered telephones on his own, had all of those things going. But thanks to a pre-planning effort by Michael, Maybe most importantly, the 911 center also was hit and damaged during the cyber attack. But thanks to Michael's actions and pre-planning, Circa was down for less than 4 hours. During that time, it transfers to Pueblo, so calls were still being answered. But within 4 hours, we were able to bring it back to Fremont County. He also was able to put in place loaner notebook computers in the 911 center, allowing them to resume fairly normal operations only hours after the attack. And that was a huge, incredible thing for everyone here in Fremont County. Having to call 911 is never a good thing, but being able to get through and having someone actually answer that is even more important. We leaned on Michael as commissioners to help us organize, coordinate, to plan recovery with all of our state and federal partners. And I just want to say we appreciated all of those things more than we can tell you. So congratulations on this award. It's very, very well deserved. We're all very proud of you, Michael.
Very much. Appreciate it.
Where is your
that
award?
award?
You have to show your award. Just, I would
Yeah,
set
just
it
right in
like
front of the
right,
podium,
right
so-
there. Yep.
Can you get that
Should
there,
be able
Lenny?
to.
Yeah.
There you go. A little bit.
We'll see. He's trying, he's gonna zoom in
He's
as
zooming
much as he
in.
can.
There you go. Yes,
See how his joystick works. There you go.
There we go.
yes, perfect.
Anything to say?
It's a group effort. It is not an individual thing. You guys, all the county employees, my EOC team, my state and federal partners, it truly is a team effort. It's not something I do alone. We have some great partnerships, relationships, great group of folks that we work with here in Fremont County, the South region, the state, and yeah, the cyber attack, it was no fun. We learned a lot from that. Everything else, and as Dwayne said, I'm just doing my job the best way I know how for all the citizens, tourists, county employees, family members. So it's just one of those things that I'm just doing what I was hired to do. So, but thank you, I do appreciate it, and I enjoy working with all of you guys.
Well, we appreciate everything you've done and are doing, and we count it a privilege as elected officials, not just the three of us, all the elected officials, when we get to brag about the county employees and what they do and what they accomplish and the recognitions that they get. Just to reiterate what Dwayne said and what you said, it highlights the how important these awards are, this award in particular, just because you were doing your job. You were simply doing your job, but our employees get recognized for such things because when they're just simply doing their job, they're doing it better than everybody else.
Doing an incredible job of it.
And they're
Yes.
getting recognized for it. And so we really appreciate that fact and appreciate all the work you do, Michael. And so congratulations and thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Michael.
Next on our agenda, item number 2 under new business is a purchase agreement for the sale of mitigation credits. Not sure what the USACE stands for. Army Corps of Engineers. Project number SPA 2021-00173 for the Grandview Bridge. And for this, we turn to our county attorney, Brenda Jackson.
Okay, we are in the process of trying to replace the Grandview Bridge. The study and engineering for the replacement bridge has been done, and we're in the process of acquiring property for rights-of-way and easements. In connection with the project, since it's primarily federal funds, we have to account for any wetlands that we are drying up. And that's what this agreement is. It's $5,000, and it's like 1/100th of a credit or something in the regional bank for wetlands. And so we're required to pay this little price because we're drying up a little bit of the property, and we'll be doing the construction in that area. And that's how simple it is. It's just a payment so we can proceed with a bridge replacement.
Okay, any questions?
No questions, Mr. Chair, but I do have a motion.
Please.
I move to approve the purchase agreement for the sale of mitigation credits for the United States Army Corps of Engineer project number SPA-2021-00173, which is the Grandview Bridge replacement, and approve the chairman's signature on that agreement, as well as the $5,000 payment that we must make.
We'll second that.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Any other discussion?
Just one note, I guess, just to kind of make it clear for those watching and may be interested. It's not just replacing the bridge, it is replacing it, but it's changing some too. That's why we had to do this with these credits and also purchase some other land, because it's kind of changing where it currently sits.
It's a complete realignment.
Complete, yeah, realignment
And it
of that
will look
road.
a lot different
Be a lot
once it's
safer
finished.
probably than
yes.
it is now.
Yes.
Right. Okay, no further discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham,
Aye.
motion carries.
Next item on our agenda is a resolution for a $3,000 funding commitment to participate in the Colorado Department of Higher Education's Colorado Opportunities Scholarship Initiative.
Resolution number 9.
And that will be resolution number 9. Assuming we pass it. For this, I turn initially to Commissioner McFall.
Thank you. So the Colorado Opportunity Scholarship Initiative program was created. It created a network to develop student support and scholarship programs throughout Colorado. The intent of the scholarship was to increase financial resources available for kids to go to college and hopefully increase the amount of children that would be able to, or they're not children at that point maybe, but youth to be able to go to college. Fremont County has teamed up with the Boys and Girls Club of Fremont County, and we have in our what do you call it, consent agenda a while ago, there was a letter authorizing the signature from the three of us for support of this. We typically don't have those up here, except for this one includes money, because we are dedicating $3,000 to this scholarship program, which are matching funds to the Colorado COSI funds. So then we also have to have, this is because of the state of Colorado in this program, they have to have a support letter, and then we have to have a resolution for this in order for it to meet their program. The resolution is a partnership applying for and distributing matching funds from the Colorado Opportunity Scholarship Program and benefit residents of Fremont County. So there are lots of opportunities for kids to be able to apply for these, for matching grants, match a grant that they get from another local organization, and it helps their funding to college. We know that's not cheap. Unless there's any other conversation, I have a motion, Mr. Chair.
Please.
I move to approve resolution number 9, which is $3,000 funding commitment to participate in the Colorado Department of Higher Education Colorado Opportunity Scholarship Initiative.
I will second, with the note that originally former Fremont County Commissioner Ed Norton was one of those folks who worked on COSI to get it started here in Fremont County. I think it's been a really great program over the years. It has allowed a lot of students who maybe are not quite as financially stable to go to college, that many more than would have been able to go originally. So I think it's a great program, and I'm really happy that we can help Fremont County students out.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. If there's no further discussion, roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham,
Aye.
motion carries.
Next item on our agenda, number 4, is the appointment of a new member to the Fair Board with the term expiring December 31, 2025.
Yes, Mr. Chair, many times we have openings on one or the other volunteer boards that we have here in Fremont County. We advertise those. We find folks who are interested. They submit a letter of interest. Sometimes we find ourselves with so many folks that we need to do interviews to select one or more. This one, we didn't have to actually do an interview because we got a lot of information from the letter itself, as well as from other members of the Fair Board and our CSU Extension folks. So with that, I move to appoint Amanda Ellis to the Fair Board with a term expiring December 31st of 2025.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item on our agenda is the appointment of a new member to the 4-H Sales Committee with a term expiring December 31, 2024.
I'll take this one, Mr. Chair. Everything Commissioner Bell just said applies to this one as well. This one expires in 2024 because we try to keep a staggered, what do you call that, calendar of these so that they expire at the same time. So this appointment would start December 31st, 2024, and then those folks that are on there are eligible to send another letter of interest to be reappointed, and most of the time they are. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'd move to appoint to the 4-H Sales Committee, term expiring December 31st, 2024, Mr. Wiley Henley II.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll
Just-
call. Oh, go ahead.
Just that we really do appreciate all of our volunteers, and we almost always have volunteer opportunities. So anyone who is interested can go to our website, fremontco.com, and check those out there. Thank you.
That's what I get for trying to roll
Sorry.
through that too quick. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Last but not least, we have the reappointment of Dave Bowden to the Board of Zoning Adjustment with a term expiring February 28, 2026.
Mr. Chair, we are all well acquainted with Mr. Bowden. He's done a lot of really good work here in Fremont County. He has served on our Board of Zoning Adjustment for some time, does an excellent job there. I believe our Department of Planning and Zoning enjoys working with him and has recommended that we reappoint him. So I move to reappoint Dave Bowden to the Board of Zoning Adjustment with a term to expire February 28th of 2026.
This is a case where we got that letter for interest of being reappointed, and here it is. I second that.
It has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Nope,
Roll call, please.
I'm good.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And last but not least on our agenda, patiently waiting, our Fremont County 2023 IGA for weed control with the City of Canyon City and our representative for our weed control department, Brittany Pierce.
Noxious Weed Control Department.
Not the other kind.
Noxious.
Good morning, Brittany.
Morning.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good.
So Fremont County and City of Canyon City, we have had an agreement between each other to maintain rights-of-ways and properties on city-owned property lands since at least as far back as 1999. So periodically, we go through and review this, make sure that both parties are in agreement. I think the last one we had was over maybe 5-10 years ago, so we just wanted to make sure that we were still in agreement with that. There were a couple word choices that we had changed, but other than that, I think it's about the same plan that we have. So if you guys have had a chance to review that, if there's any other discussion on that as well, we can look over that as well.
Okay.
I would, if I may,
Yeah, please.
just like to point out, there's not an actual dollar amount attached for this, correct? Because we
Yes.
bill for services provided. So we
Yes.
never know upfront what that amount is going to look like.
So what we do is we will send out a proposal for the year in advance, and if they're in agreement with that, then we go forward with that. And that's kind of how it's been. Normally, it's been about 4,000, but this past year with prices and stuff changing, we might increase that a little bit just so that we can get more work done.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any further comments or questions?
No, I've got a motion. You
Please.
ready? I move that we approve the 2023 IGA for weed control with the City of Canyon City.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Just a quick note of thank you to Brittany because she always works so well with all of our other local partners, agencies, everyone throughout Fremont County, including individual landowners, in doing her very, very best to control the noxious weeds here in Fremont County. And in fact, she was recognized as County Weed Manager of the Year for Colorado just a couple of years ago. So congratulations again on that, and thank you for always doing such a great job for all of us.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And thank you for reminding us of that. Again, another opportunity for us to brag about our employees.
Yep. Oh, we bragged on her back then, too.
Yes, yes. And just another reminder, just recent conversations that the four of us have had, going back to talking about legislation.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Brittany does a great job of highlighting stuff for us that may not come to light to us, even with CCI, but how that intersects with our individual departments and highlighting bad legislative ideas and working with her and her working with us to try to oppose such things. And so thank you for your help on that as well. If there's no further discussion on this, roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And with that, if there is no further business to come before this board today, we are adjourned.